You're listening to the podcast that changed the game and rocked an entire profession. Talking about shit in law enforcement that keeps poor leaders up at night. When others run scared and hide behind fake policies, the Roll Call Room podcast tells it like it is. No bullshit. No matter how hard these thieves try, we keep killing it. And now, here are your hosts, Nick and Mark.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Roll Call Room. With me is the wonderful co-host and mayor-elect of New York City, Mark the Cop.
Good morning. Well, good day or good evening, whichever shift you're on.
Yeah, whatever it's morning for us. And don't adjust your screens. It is a three-way split screen with us. Is Turk from Spinning Our Gears. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, y'all?
Welcome.
We're excited to have you on.
Got a bit of a cold, but we'll get through it.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. I got something that'll help with that.
Yeah?
It's called methamphetamine.
I was thinking it was like several knuckles.
Well, now you can do whatever you want because
Right.
you have exited. You have exited the law enforcement family. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That
buddy.
is a huge step.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into that for sure because you're in the early stages of the breakup, as
Yeah.
Mark and I like to call it.
Yes, sir.
It's the
Recently born.
yeah, well, it's the checking my phone constantly to see if she'll get back with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Or me having to call to get my things back. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that awkwardness, which is like, I just really just want to pick up my stuff, but also I would just want to have one last, you know.
I don't like getting in there in though.
Yeah. That is true. I think when you first exit, you're kind of like, is this really happening? Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of awkward, actually.
yeah,
Once you go out the door, and it's kind of like you kind of feel exposed. They have that show on Discovery, Naked and Afraid.
Mhm.
I think you get a little bit of that. It's like, oh, what do I do now? I don't have a badge and a credential anymore.
Right. we wear that title for sure. And so once it's gone, it's almost like you're missing a piece of clothing. It's weird. It's very weird.
So how are you feeling, Turk?
I'm loving it. I'll put it that way. Some things had gone sideways about 2 years ago, and where I went from protecting the other guys, I was the one getting it, and so some feelings were hurt for sure. And I did some self-reflection, and it was, my family's gone through 15 years of a few different startups, and me being on overnights, and me missing events, and wife sleeping at home alone, afraid of what could happen. And I just said, if I'm going to start over again, it is not going to be doing the overnight thing. It's not going to be doing the keeping them scared. At one point, my kid, as I was walking out the door, was like, "Hey, Dad, don't get shot by any suspects tonight."
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started the process knowing I was going to get out about 6 months ago, doing some training, and I found a position that was still within the safety world, and I jumped on it, and I am loving every bit of it so far.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Like, we talk about it on this show quite a bit, which is there are a lot of folks out there that are kind of like, what's out there? What is it going to be like? You never get into law enforcement to make money. And if you are,
No.
you're sadly mistaken because it takes many, many years for you to make a decent salary. And that salary comes with a price tag, which is, like you said, being away from the family and missing events and doing things like that. But it also is the price of your freedom.
Yeah.
Like I I have way more freedom now in Florida. I have way more freedom and almost more rights than a sheriff's deputy or a police officer does off duty.
Mm-hmm.
Because you both can speak to this, which is you have to be on your P's and Q's even off duty. Like I flip off fucking bad drivers left and right without any
Yeah.
recourse. If you did that as an off duty cop, forget about it. You'd have to write a memo. There'd be an II.
You'd be suspended.
This would be suspended while they pen an investigation, and and if you don't have a good chief, you're fucked. You're fucked. And that's what it really boils down to. Is it's the tippy top of every organization. My ADD is kicking in, but did you guys see in New Orleans PD? They have an enormous amount of overtime going on right now, and the media followed a couple of off-duty details, city-run off-duty details, followed these officers while they were on duty going home and sitting home for hours.
No, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. And the fucking police chief.
They were getting paid.
Yeah, and they were going
home. They went home.
Yeah, yeah.
And shocker.
You know what? Good for
Not
them.
that's ever happened before.
But it makes me laugh because I'm not a big fan of the New Orleans police chief. She looks like she's fucking like 115 years old.
Is that the one from California that they hired?
Yes. That's the one I think from San Francisco PD or
yeah, another one of our chief shoppers, we call them.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just go around the country ruining departments.
Yeah. She's Art Acevedo's vice president of the I'm a Shitty Police Chief Club.
She took all of his classes.
She did. She's like if I keep moving around. Yeah, she's like, if I keep moving around, eventually they're gonna make a statue of me. So the press sits down with her and she does an interview and she's like, well, these are officers that have take-home vehicles, so it's okay. I was like, what?
What else are you gonna say to that?
Yeah, like, well, the right thing.
I'm unaware, which is worse, or
right,
it's like, well, they're. But what is the policy on it? I mean, playing devil's advocate. I mean, if you're going between gigs, if you're leaving, your patrol shift and you're going to special duty, and then suddenly, we know how our friends in the press want to skew a story.
Sure.
They're just going to follow you home while you do a uniform change and leave, or grab a bite to eat and then go back to your next gig. But what was full circumstance? I haven't seen the article, so I guess I need to see that first. But I'm immediately suspect of what we're being told, and
Sure.
Sadly, with the state of our news media right now, I don't believe anything. Which I think is their goal,
right?
Is to feed us so much bullshit that you don't believe anything. As much as I would like to throw dirt on a poorly performing chief, I mean. What else do you say when you're blindsided with something like that?
Oh no, I agree. I think this past election cycle really kind of highlighted how askewed the media is, and we all were talking offline before we came off of this episode about the Derek Chauvin. Is it Derek Chauvin? What's his last name? Yeah, Derek Chauvin. From Minnesota PD has filed a motion for a new trial, and I'd venture to say, I'd venture to say that if he got brought up on charges today, the outcome would be quite different than it was back then. And I'll stick to my guns when that first happened. I still think that a lot of things went wrong that he did. Are they criminal? Nah. Administrative, possible termination. That's to be desired. It depends on who's the deciding person.
Right.
Optics is everything. We talk about that a lot on here. Optics is everything.
So let me jump in here real quick, Nick, because my ADD mind is just screaming right now.
We've got 3 guys with ADD. Yeah.
Right. So this ought to be a squirrel 3-for-all. What do you do when the chief lies? What do you do? What recourse do you have as a police officer when the people that are entrusted are telling the wrong story or creating the wrong narrative?
Right.
I think all three of us on this podcast right now have lived that life. Without getting into the details of all of us. And yes, I'm still working on my book, and my promise to myself is to have it done in 2026. The cluster fuckery that happened here in my little slice of heaven in Ohio, which is why I moved to Florida. But what do you do? Officer Chauvin, that is every cop's worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? This guy, and we talked about it at the time. This guy was a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And we've also talked about the documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis, and what a cluster that was. They had a narrative they wanted to pump. They needed a sacrificial lamb, and they found it. I mean, how many times has this guy been stabbed in prison? I just read a report here ago where he was lit up again.
Yeah.
And seeing the other camera angles is like, he's just kneeling there behind him. And then think about it. He came out of the detective section, got put back on patrol. I mean, I've never been a detective and never had the opportunity in my former assignment. But I think, Nick, as well as I do, coming off a special assignment, then going back out to the street, you're really not sure of yourself. And everyone around him in that incident were less than 6 months or a year on the job
on FTO.
So he was the senior. This is just a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But
how does the defense attorney not pick up on a lot of that stuff is my question. How does the defense attorney not represent him better?
They're all in the same bag, bro.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I've seen that here in my life, to where we had recently another police officer here locally went to prison, and the defense attorney was in bed with the prosecutor. Since then, the judge has thrown the charge out, and he's been pulled out of prison. He's back home now.
Good deal.
Again, absolute nightmare. What do you do? I mean, how much money do you have? And let me tell you, boys and girls, my attorney was cheap at $345 an hour and up. So if you're not doing it, go get that $1 million liability policy if you're a homeowner and get it added. You're going to need it.
Yeah, and I don't know if the union attorney dropped him. I can't remember it was so far back, but I mean, just the optics of that whole thing was terrible. The right thing to do would have been for motion after motion after motion to delay this trial as far as they possibly can to get through.
But at the time, Nick, that wasn't going to happen.
No, it was a no-win.
They wanted his head on a fucking stick so these people could walk by and spit on it. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
And sadly, it's the way it went. Watching that documentary brought me to tears. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you're good, man. I mean, it'll be interesting how it shakes out. Like, I think you have a lot less people on the other side that have any basis to protest a new trial, only because what was born out of that, a lot of it turned into fraud. A lot of it turned into financial fraud, and
you think,
yeah.
But there again, look at all those big lies. Look at all that. You got Ferguson. Just go right down the list. It was all horse shit, and it was all just outright attacks on law enforcement.
But
you try and pump a narrative.
You ask, what do we do, or what do you do when you have the top dog that lies and paints the wrong narrative in the chief? This right here is what we do. Because like you guys said, 3-4 episodes ago, we are more dangerous out than we ever were in.
Exactly.
We have a voice now, and we can start telling the truth, and we can start, shining a light on all this injustice that's going on.
Yeah, and a shameless plug too is like, we look at the success on like YouTube, like we're getting 25,000 plus views per episode, and Mark and I, we don't see it. Yeah, we don't see a dime from that. We're not monetized at this point with YouTube. But like you said, Turk, which is the more people that watch those videos, the more dangerous you become outside of this profession. Because like we talked about in the beginning, I don't have any repercussions. Like the company I work for outside of here doesn't give a shit what my opinions are about law enforcement and leadership. If not, they agree with what I have because you can't disagree with what the truth is. Like, you can't disagree that law enforcement right now has a serious leadership problem. Chiefs are appointed by mayors and city managers, and a lot of them are blue state appointed. And if you think a blue state mayor or a blue state city manager is going to employ a Grady Judd, you're out of your fucking mind.
That's right.
They're going to appoint somebody that is so far to the left that believes in the ideologies of having social workers respond to calls for service and not law enforcement. Like Mandani's proposal for New York City is going to get social workers killed.
Sure.
I understand what you're talking about in theory, but you do need a uniformed presence to go to a domestic or go to cases where there's a possibility of violence. And sending somebody in with a bulletproof vest on that says counselor on the back of it, or mental health professional or whatever.
Right.
You're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your mind.
I think in New York, and I know a lot of the mental health services, some people need to be institutionalized. And over the last 30 years, they've shut all those institutions down.
Yep.
Some of these people need to be off the street because they are violent and dangerous. So these mental health calls that we're getting, that now that we're dealing with them because they're trying to assimilate them back into society, which I get all that. I mean, on the empathetic side, there's incidents where there's been problems, but you can't suddenly defund all the mental health and then quickly try and re-implement it all.
Yeah.
There's several institutions, especially in upstate New York. I watch, was it The Proper People? They don't pay us to say this, but they're kind of urban explorers.
Oh,
They went through a huge complex in upstate New York. It was all for the mentally ill. It was literally its own village, and that whole complex is sitting abandoned now. Think of the millions of dollars in New York citizens, and that was the overflow site for New York. And it's just sitting there empty. They just walked away from it because they sent all those people back into the population. But I think and real quick, and then I'll let you jump in there, Nick. But I think Mandani's thing was his interview with President Trump was he said, no, I want to maintain our current staffing. I don't want the cops going to mental health calls. I would rather they be fighting crime. So I don't know if that's a pivot on his behalf, but that was the first time I heard that.
Well, and to pivot, our topic right now is that conversation in the Oval Office was, it's a pause and a cause for some concern, because I don't believe that guy can say the same thing more than once. He changes.
I did get the chameleon feel off of him.
He has very strict talking points, and when he's held or when he's backed into the wall by the press and asked questions, he has this socialist type of mentality, which is to tiptoe and dance around but not really answer the question. So he's a full-blown politician. But the other issue is that how are you going to make buses fast and free? How are you going to make affordable housing? How are you going to do all of this? And taxing the rich is only going to drive people out of New York City. You may not like that there are billionaires, but those billionaires trickle money down to the middle class and to eventually the lower class.
Don't say trickle down. It doesn't work.
Trickle down.
I'm kidding.
But I mean, anybody that knows the president knows that guy plays chess like a grandmaster. So whatever was discussed, whatever was discussed, whatever was discussed before the press got in that Oval Office, I have no idea. But there's no path to fixing New York City without the Fed's help. The sticking point is ICE. The sticking point is you have an exorbitant amount of crime going on in New York City. I venture to say anywhere from 20 to 35% of that crime is probably perpetrated by people that either have detentions or have been already arrested before, where the federal government can come in and assist with warrant collections. And we talked about this, I think, last episode or the episode before. The reduction in crime in Washington, D.C. wasn't anything spectacular. This wasn't a strategic deployment. This was the feds going to Washington, D.C. Police Department, Metropolitan Police Department, saying, give me all of your open warrants. And there's thousands of them.
And
Turk,
we'll
you
go
can
serve
speak to this in your jurisdiction.
Mhm.
We used to
I
have
think
an
all of our jurisdictions had
Yeah.
that.
we used to have a holiday detail to clean the books. You go to the courthouse, you take a stack of
Right.
warrants, and you go pick people up, right?
Yep.
Right.
And that's all the federal government did. That's all the marshals did, the Secret Service and the FBI and whoever else was tapped to help out in Washington, D.C. And the reason why now there's shootings and crime in Washington, D.C., because it's starting to trickle back up, is because the judicial system is so fucking broken.
Mm-hmm.
They did a roundup. They got all these people locked up, and they were let out on a $5 footlong from Subway,
Right.
and a promise to appear in court later on. And the judicial, that's the problem with the judicial system is we, you, me, and Turk would go out there, bust our ass, get criminals off the street, and they would get a $50 bond or a $100 bond, even a $5,000 bond, post 10% of it, and they're right fucking out again. And that's the other big problem is bail reform in New York is fucking atrocious,
Mhm.
absolutely atrocious. So I mean, listen, I wish the guy well. I don't think it's going to be successful. I am sitting here with a bowl of popcorn waiting for fucking New York City
Right.
to crumble.
Where did you live when you lived in New York, Nick?
I lived in Brooklyn.
Cool.
Yeah, and I started my law enforcement career in Jamaica, Queens, which if anybody knows what that is, it's a pretty bad area. And
But
I
you
was
were
in-
such a badass. You went in and cleaned it up yourself.
Man, I did some stupid shit. Like the statute of limitations is over now, but I can tell you, I did nothing to further the reputation of the NYPD at all. It was a different world. Man.
Now everyone wants to know.
Just
give us one story from the streets.
Well, I'll give you one when I went from New York to Virginia. So I had gone through the police academy, and I graduated the police academy, and of course you go into FTO. And my first assignment right out, I was partnered up with a FTO that had the inner city. And so he's like, we're going to this area. It's really bad. You're probably not used to it. And I'm like, bro, fucking public housing in New York City. Yeah. So like we're driving down the street, and I was working midnights right out of the gate. And roll call was 8, so I'd say probably by the time we got donuts and coffee and shit, and it was like 9:30, and I'm driving into this fucking public housing area, and this dude's bebopping down the street on the sidewalk, and then he walks into the street. So now I got him for fucking jaywalking. That's New York City for you, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I fucking screeched the car, Crown Vic, your favorite.
Yes.
Slam the car into park, jump out of the car, don't tell my FTO, and I fucking grab this dude, I put him against the car, and I'm fucking starting to fucking bunny ear him, like all the pockets and shit, and kick him to the curb. And so like we get in the car, and my FTO goes, "What the fuck was that?" And I was like, I tossed the guy.
Baby.
Yeah, I said, I fucking tossed the guy. He goes, "You what?" I said, "I fucking tossed him." I said, a little stop and frisk. And he was like, "Pull the car over." And he's like, "Get out of the car." And we get to the back, we had the back meeting conversation. And he's like, "Listen, I don't know what the fuck you guys did up in New York City, but you just can't stop somebody just to stop him and frisk him. Like, you have to have probable cause." And I was like, "What the fuck is this bullshit? Like, how the fuck do you get guns and drugs off the street?" But that's acceptable up there. That's a different mindset. Like, how many guns and drugs we used to get off the street. Now, Did we lock people up based off of those stops and frisks? Small percentage. But
Right.
typically what would happen is if we stopped and frisked you and we took a legal gun off of you, that was a win. We didn't
Yeah.
need to go to central booking. Now, whether or not that gun made it into property is another issue.
Right.
But
Well,
I'll
but
leave
you
that.
also made a contact when you did that. Hey, I just took a gun off you and I didn't take you to jail.
Correct.
I'll see you again later on.
But there's a mutual respect, or at least there was in the late '90s, early 2000s. There was a mutual respect between perps and cops. You know, it wasn't uncommon for you to take your gun belt off and your badge off and to fist fight in a fucking apartment, and whoever won determined, you know, what the results were. If I won, you were going to jail.
Right.
If you won, no harm, no foul. Like, you're not calling IA.
You won, I'm going away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like, all right, you got one. I'll catch you next time. But, you know, like the whole point is you don't let the other person win. But, you know, some of those things have caused the problems that we're having in law enforcement now is because some people take it too far, which is not only did you win the fight, you handcuff this person, then you continue to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Well,
code. There's code.
Exactly. And we talked about this the other day. I had breakfast yesterday with two of my now retired colleagues, and we were talking about going to jail. And in the neck of the woods where I worked at, if the suspect went to jail with the shit beat out of him, he got street cred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no, I fought them motherfuckers. They didn't get one over on me. I didn't go easy. You know, so they wore their bumps, bruises, and bloodiness with a sense
now
of
they're
pride.
calling Morgan and Morgan, bro. Now it's like, you know, it's
normally Morgan and Morgan's calling them.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want a big check now because you got your ass kicked? Sure, why not? You know, but your true street fighters. I mean, and we have true street fighters that's wearing blue. I mean, I used to love. Did you guys have tough man contests in your areas of the world?
Mm-mm.
No.
In Dayton, Ohio, there was a place called Hera Arena, and hats off to Hera Arena. It's the tornado took it out here a couple years ago, but they had a thing called the Tough Man Contest, and this is where a lot of cops go down there and fight on display the guys that, you know, the other side or the street thugs, and you know, who's the toughest fighter. And man, it brought out all kinds of people, but you know, I was always like, I ain't afraid of nothing, but I would never, I don't pride my fighting skills that well to where I'm going to get up in the ring. And my one buddy who was a deputy, he's like, oh yeah, you know, I thought I could do this. He said this little skinny biker guy kicked his ass because the guy knew how to fight, you know, and he, you know, he boxed and whatever else. He said, this guy got me with an open hand throw. He said, got him with the butt of his hand. He came around, whack, and he said, man, my lights went out. And he said, next thing you know, I'm on the mat. I said, well, that's embarrassing.
That kind of goes back to the academy, though, because they send you through the academy and make you think that you know how to fight because they put boxing gloves on you and you know, 2 4-minute rounds with another police officer, and they instill this, you know what you're doing until you go get your butt kicked out on the street.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, we don't talk about it too much on here, but we should. Which is you need to further your ground fighting, like
Amen. Yes.
I mean, I think 99.9% of all of my fights wound up being on the floor and being ground fighting. One where the guy was grabbing for my gun. You know, like
every time,
man. Like, if you're not doing some sort of out of the academy continued education for self-defense or ground defense, you're really doing yourself a huge disservice.
And it's almost unacceptable right now because there are so many programs out there with law enforcement scholarships. Like, I was signed up for a jiu-jitsu one where I was going for free. I could go as many times as I wanted to for free.
Yeah,
if that's out there. There's no excuse not to do it.
No, I mean my agency had a fucking KY jelly, you know,
and a big rubber fist.
Yeah,
loosened up for the IA.
Yeah, I have a challenge coin right up there from the Bring Your Teeth Boy, I'm Going In Deep club.
Oh, I thought it was the Rubber Fist Club, but all right.
Yeah,
I like that one better.
You like being in law enforcement? Take this.
You're supposed to smile. You're supposed to
I'm your
smile the whole
captain
time.
now. Yeah, I'm your captain now.
Turn around and wink at him.
Yeah.
Do we all have those visions of Kevin Bacon there in the beginning of Animal House? Thank you, sir,
You know, and going back to you leaving Turk, like I will tell you, like your new job that's outside of law enforcement, it's going to take you a while when you get like a text message or an email or a phone call, well, a text or something that says, "Hey, give me a call."
Right.
The anxiety that goes through you when you're in law
Oh,
enforcement,
my God.
when your boss or someone in a higher authority goes, "Hey, give me a call," and you're
Yeah.
like, "Fuck," because it's never
Amen,
good
bro.
news.
Yeah.
It's never. And I'm a people leader in my new profession, and I make it a point when I send somebody a message through instant messenger or a text message, and I go, "Hey, when you get a second, give me a call. Nothing bad. I want to talk to you about this."
Right.
And it
Right.
sets the tone and lets them know, "Oh, okay, cool," because I don't like it being done to me. And
Yeah.
every boss that I've had in the company that I work with, I've expressed that to them in my individual one-on-ones, which is please don't send me a message, "Hey, give me a call," without telling me what it's about.
Because they don't get it. They've never been
They
through
don't get it. They don't get
Or a
it.
greeting. How about good morning, motherfucker,
Yeah.
or good
Yeah.
afternoon? You know, don't send me a text where you're midway through a conversation in your head.
Yes.
Oh, I need to send, Nick a text here. So, and I've been guilty of that, to where
Yeah.
I've sent something out and then I back it up, or I go edit it and throw good morning in ahead of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is the worst anxiety in the world.
Well, and
is to get that.
yeah, and I had the best boss that I've ever had in my professional career at the company that I'm with, and he has since retired. And he had rescued me from law enforcement. He was my hiring manager, and he brought me on. I think it was like the first or second month I was with the company, and we were on a one-on-one, and that topic came up, and I swear to both of you, he said to me, he goes, "Man, law enforcement really fucked you up." And I said,
Yeah.
"Pat, you have no idea how bad they fucked me up."
Yeah.
Just shy of a month, and I've got that too. That same comment, because
Yeah, dude.
on the flip side of it, so with my position, I was really just kind of thrown in with the wolves, and they're like, "We trust you. We trust that you know what you're doing. Go get it." I had to go make a purchase for some equipment, and I had to fill out a purchase order. I've never done that before, and I go to the store to get the stuff that I need, and it was like $600, right? In the law enforcement world, that is a crazy amount of money, and I feel like I'm getting ready to get stop and frisked walking out the store like I did something wrong. My boss was like, "What are you freaking out about? Like, you did everything right. You have the authority to do this." But there was so much pressure and anxiety just going to get equipment that the guys needed that I'm, having a mid panic attack.
Yeah.
Oh, those are always fun.
I
Yeah.
think what it is the civilian world doesn't really understand that you think cops have this tremendous amount of power, but what you don't understand is behind the scenes, you don't, because
No.
it is very, very scrutinized. It is very, very much like, and it always made me laugh when I was a sergeant, and Mark, you could probably speak to this too, which is we trust folks to go out there with a gun and badge and handcuffs and take people's rights away from them and detain them and do all of these things. But we don't trust them to turn around and do their own cruiser inspection. We
Right.
don't trust them to do their own equipment inspection.
Right.
Menial things that you're just like, this is wild. And then same with you, Turk, which is like when I went into this company, I'm signing off on multi-million-dollar things where I'm saying it's okay for you to spend $65 million on this idea.
Right.
Not this thing. It's a concept. That's crazy power for you to have. It's crazy. And I think some people that don't want to make that leap are afraid to give up what they don't know that they don't have. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Well, if I were to spend $500 in law enforcement, I would have to do, 3 quotes, an essay on why I need the equipment, an essay on why I'm choosing this particular equipment, all to just get told, we issued you something already, even though it's crap, use it,
Well, law
Yeah,
enforcement
do the best you can. Yeah.
law enforcement is way fully underfunded. But this,
to
again,
some extent.
Yeah, but to the civilian world, they don't truly understand how much you are not adequately trained,
Yeah.
in the sense of you qualify in some instances, like in my agency, we only qualified once a year with our firearms.
Mm-hmm.
So once a year, you go in and you lay 50 rounds
Mm-hmm.
downfield, and then wink, 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 wink. If you don't make 70, you're on desk
A
duty
pip.
until you
Yeah.
shoot 70, which wink,
Yeah.
wink, wink, you will make 70. And then same with defensive tactics. It's typically once a year because they are afraid that while they're training people at 50%, they're at 50% capacity, like they're afraid they're going to lose 2 or 3 officers getting hurt because they're so physically unfit and
Right.
unkept.
And that's what my boss said. Don't get
Yeah.
hurt.
Yep.
We can't
Get
afford
hurt.
injuries.
And what the public doesn't understand is, as qualified individuals, not to toot my own horn, but some of the crap that you see during those trainings where you're like, that person shouldn't be a cop. They shouldn't have that equipment. They shouldn't be on the street. They can't manipulate their taser. They can't figure out how to work the holster on their gun. They're,
Oh my God. You did what was that thing you did a while ago? You did the breakdown. It was down south. Sorry, ADD moment.
No, you're good.
Of the chief and the deputy and the
Oh,
kid.
my
He's
goodness.
like, God damn it, fucking tase him. He's like,
Yes.
"Arr!" and the
The
guy's
guy
dropping
tased himself, and yeah.
Well,
It was
Turk, you're onto it, because I can't remember how many times you'd go to defensive tactics with a detective.
Mm-hmm.
And they show up to defensive tactics with the outer carry vest that looks pristine,
Yep.
right out of the fucking box.
Mm-hmm.
And on their outer carry vest is the magazine holders and their handcuffs and OC. And then you go do a scenario with them in Redman, and you're the cover officer and they're the contact officer.
Mm-hmm.
And the red man is looking for you to deploy something.
Right.
And you see them, they're looking down at their vest, and you're just like, Jesus Christ. First of all, these are detectives that are allowed to go do paid details
Mm-hmm.
at movie theaters and other things. You're not familiar with your equipment. You're derelict in your job. You should have muscle memory where everything is.
So,
But they don't.
Great story is when I became a DT instructor, we went to scenario-based training. We said, we're not going to sit around and strike bags for a half hour. We're going to do scenarios. I was the bad guy. We didn't use a red man
Go
suit.
figure.
If I got beat up, I got beat up. But we had the two so to start off, we were wanting to make the scene safe. Hey, no ammo, no knives, no nothing in this room. And I got so much kickback and so much flack from people being pissed off that I went and frisked them to take the knife off of them because I didn't want to get stabbed while we were doing this.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I run this scenario where you have a drunk person who just sexually assaulted an underage female in a park. That's the information they were given. The two detectives walk in and they start going through their scenario, and they decide they're going to back out and follow up later. DT training, you think that there's going to be some sort of vocalization here? No, it's going to get physical.
Yeah. It's we'll have patrol checkup later on.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's
Roll
interesting.
me a car over here.
Yeah, what's
sorry.
interesting is like I will give one praise to my old agency. We had a mall that was vacant. Actually, Wonder Woman 2 was filmed in that mall that was vacant. And so Lord and Taylor, that used to be in that mall, the mall gave that space to our agency for free until
Nice.
the mall was torn down. And what
Nice.
they did was they built shoot houses inside of Lord and Taylor. And that was our DT. Was we went to scenario based, and same thing. You had to be frisked. You had to put everything in your locker, and they were really, really good. Like they built a whole school inside of Lord and Taylor. So they were doing school shooting, scenario-based stuff, which was very realistic. I mean, it was super realistic. They piped in kids screaming on a speaker, and it was intense. But it also separated the people that if you saw them on the CAD system responding, You had some.
Put them outside on the perimeter detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one lady detective shoot me in the ass with the simulation round while we were stacked going in and taking down the suspect for a school shooting. And I've just, your adrenaline's flying, but like you hear a round go off and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I look behind me and my pants have like the little pink fucking paint on it. And I'm like, bitch, did you just shoot me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the realization is when you add to that, when you're on the firearms range on the line and you're seeing people put rounds into the ground and missing paper altogether, if that was a real scenario, you've just been shot in the butt and now you're injured and probably going to bleed out because that person doesn't know how to use a tourniquet. They don't know how to use gauze. They don't know how to, do anything. That's what we're working with.
I always, when we went to the range, I always looked in the classroom before we went out to the 50-yard line, and I would look around, and I would think to myself, what's the probability that I'm going to come out of this training alive, depending on the people that were in that classroom, because you have people that change magazines with the gun pointed at
muzzle
people.
Other people with the gun because they're so
wild,
focused on what they're doing.
Yeah, it's just wild.
Gentlemen, I think of the big three, which is firearms, defensive tactics, and driving. We all have the same problem, and it's industry wide, and that's mitigation of stress. Yeah. And with that mitigation of stress, I don't feel that a lot of our officers now in the scenario-based training are taught what's the next couple of steps. Correct. Where do I need to be? What's my exit strategy? How am I going to end this violent encounter and end it quick? Because the longer it goes on, what are my resources? But the biggest thing is I see good officers, whether it's that detective that isn't exposed to it as much or whichever, they get jacked. And just like what Nick was talking about, man, you're amped up, and sometimes you don't feel that pain or you're not thinking all the way through. And the things that happen to us under stress is that auditory exclusion, lack of peripheral vision, lack of good decision-making skills. And how do we get out of that? And officers would go ahead.
What to do when we fail, when the first thing we do fails. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all right. No, that's a valid point. But that stress mitigation is critical. That tactical breathing. And does anyone actually practice it in the field?
Right.
You're just doing I don't want to say a routine. What do I want to say? You're running emergency response to whatever.
Yeah.
And you just watch the skills go to shit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing like a really, really good training to get you excited,
Sure. You want to put them in that stress, but then again, here we go. Nice.
I just got PTSD. Oh my goodness. My little pucker.
Yeah, Turk, we just want to talk to you about a couple of things.
I've heard that before.
That's basically, I didn't even tell Mark this. I put a FOIA request in for my final meeting with the chief before I decided to part ways. And
you just did that?
Well, they just sent me the audio from our conversation in the office.
I'm just envisioning Nick on a black couch with a bunch of people surrounding him.
Black leather couch.
Yeah, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what that is.
What are all these pump dispensers are sitting around here on the end tables?
Why are there 4 tripods set up? Why is the PIO in here?
Why is it so slippery?
What's this piece of with teeth marks on it?
Yeah.
Why does the desk have multiple sets of teeth?
That's claw marks on your desk. I am your friend in this conversation, Nick.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to talk real quick. I just want to talk.
Honesty is everything, Nick. Honesty is everything. This is a fair process.
You don't need your FOP rep. You don't need your lawyer. We're just going to talk about it. We're all friends here.
When you guys hear, and it's going to be probably at least a year from now, but when you guys hear, you won't be shocked. You guys won't be shocked, but a lot of other people will be.
Well, behind the scenes, because we don't want to go into what you got going on, but behind the scenes, Mark and I were messaging you and saying, get ready, bro. Get ready. And I think some people that are still in law enforcement kind of get tired of Mark and I kind of saying, hey, listen, nobody is your friend.
Right.
When that envelope comes in inter office mail. And we do mean that, because I've yet to see somebody that comes out of a conversation with II and the chief and that goes, man, that was the best fucking experience I've ever had in my life. They treated me fairly.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
10 years ago, it was just tell the truth and you're fine. That ain't that way anymore.
Well, but 10 years ago, you had actual leadership,
Right.
and you had people that were actually concerned for you.
It wasn't
and
a
you
domestic
had,
situation, yeah.
Right. Well, we all make mistakes, from the words of my favorite chief, Tom Davidson, God rest his soul. Hey, man, you fucked up. Here's what's going to happen. You're a good officer. I don't want this to diminish your enthusiasm. Just sometimes we need to reel it in, or you need to be making better decisions. And this is part of that process. And like what Dr. David says, there's no learning without paying, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, and sadly, and I was talking to some veteran officers at advanced training, they're like, oh no, it's discipline first, ask questions later.
Yep.
We're going to give you your rip. We're not going to do any investigation.
When you find out
what we thought. Yeah. Strap in, boys. Here you go. You got to fight your way up from the bottom of the pile.
But they have figured out a way, and by they, I mean the poor leadership has figured out a way for the coup de grace to ruin your career and your potential to earn in law enforcement forever.
Yeah.
And that's the untruthfulness. That's the coup de grace, because there's nobody outside of II and the chief that reviews their investigation for impartiality and not bias.
That's
so
right.
if they hit you with untruthfulness, which we're all veterans of, the thing about it is whose truth? You
mine
don't
wasn't mine wasn't even untruthfulness.
No. I'm just saying. I think all of us have experienced being accused of not being forthright or
because
honest.
they know that if they can tag you with that is now a pin that you have to wear for the rest of your life, anywhere you go, whether it be law enforcement or not. But especially in the law enforcement world, if you have that pin, no one wants to touch you, even within your own agency.
Yep.
Right. They want to Brady list you.
Yeah, you can't testify. And and the part that makes me laugh about that is you never ever see a police chief or a sheriff ever get tagged with that untruthfulness, and they are the biggest perpetrators of that. Like they are the Mandani of fucking law enforcement. They will talk out of both sides of their mouth, and there's just no repercussions, because when things get hot, they jump and they go to another agency.
Or the people that hired them will protect them, and they will load them up with lawyers because they don't want to get litigated, right? So we have to find a way to spin this on anyone else but the person that we decided to hire as the chief, even if that chief doesn't know what a chain of command is or what actually happened on the scene. They need to protect that chief so that it doesn't fall back on them.
Politicians and policing, they go hand in hand. We were talking about it for many years on this show, which is politic and policing. If you think there's a difference between the two, you're sadly mistaken. You're very limited on what you can do off duty when you become a police officer now. You're scrutinized very heavily. If you have a social media account and you're a cop, you need to be very, very concerned. And if you're doing dumb shit, with TikTok and dancing around, not only are you going to be looked at by your agency, but there are many podcasts out there that will highlight what you're doing and point it out, and stir the pot, so.
Well, we're talking about accountability, and who are the chiefs accountable for, or to? Either the mayor or the city manager. And a lot of times, if the mayor or city manager, that was their pick, they're going to do a lot to defend that person.
Yes.
The next problem is that we as officers and middle management, when the chief is lying or the chief is being untruthful, there's nowhere to go.
Right.
And what they try to do, I think, is to prevent you from jumping to another agency. Serial killers, and I bear with me on this. They don't just get good at killing humans overnight; they practice at it. And I've seen this in the toxicity locally. They get better each time they try and fry somebody. Ooh, well, he got out of it this way, so we need to be sure to counter that. You know, and sadly, they're getting good at what they do. And hemming you up. I just don't understand the maliciousness. And Nick, you are the shining example. You know, you get this great job offer, boom, thanks but no thanks. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, didn't you FOIA'd, you went for a federal job, and didn't that investigator say, hey, you need to FOIA this because
and I would have
never
known. Dude,
right.
I was applying for jobs. I think after the 15th rejection, I went and I applied for the U.S. Marshals, and I was at the tail end, man. I got my offer, and then it was contingent on my background check. And, you know, after they reached out to II and they said all that shit, they sent me for a polygraph, and I passed their polygraph. And the background investigator was like, "We're not going to offer you the job." And I was like, "Why?" I passed the polygraph, and they were like, "It's what they said and what they put down on paper," which then I got copies of. If I had the means at that point, like if that happened now, like financially, I'm way better off than I was then. If I was financially better off then, I would have sued the shit out of them. I would have done some serious stuff and I would have sued the sergeant at the time, who's now a lieutenant. I would have sued him personally.
Right, because that's malicious behavior. Right?
Oh, totally. They put things in there like my mental instability and all these accusations that, unless you sent me for a mental evaluation, is slander.
Right.
But they get away with it. They get away with it because the only ones that are looking at those files are other law enforcement agencies when you apply for a position. Like when I got the job where I'm at now, they didn't even call APD because they were like, we have confidence in our interviewing and our background as far as what your skill set is and what we're looking for. They lost our game.
Right.
And rightfully so. Like you're worth a tremendous amount of money outside of law enforcement in many different ways. And
exactly.
Before we hit record, I was telling Turk, I said to him, I was like, I don't miss right around now, the holidays, which is how do I explain to my family I'm not going to be there for Thanksgiving, that I drew the unlucky straw and I'm working? How am I going to afford Christmas gift for my kids? Like, that means I got to start planning in September or October and start working fucking parades that I can't stand, and details I can't stand, look for overtime details that I just don't want to work. And I don't know about you two. Every single time I've been hurt on the job, not every time, but 99.9% of the time I've been hurt on the job is because it was while I was working overtime. It wasn't even my normal fucking shift, because I was one of those people that would sign up for a shift, an extra overtime shift, and work my fucking ass off, because I didn't want that squad to feel like I was just coming there for fucking paycheck. And you guys know those type of people. They sign up for fucking extra duty detail on your shift, and you can't fucking find them.
They feel like because they signed up for the overtime, they shouldn't have to do any reports or any paperwork. And
Correct.
No, Mark, you had mentioned everything that you just said. And by the way, everyone watching at home, don't forget about manscaped.com. Roll Call Room is doing a pretty good deal over there. But
you say I need a shave?
Maybe. I saw you before we hit record. Everything that you talked about with the collusion and chiefs talking to other chiefs, we go back to, I know that we've said it on our show, I think you guys said it too, it is a domestic abuse relationship between you and your admin. And the admin truly feel that you should want to stay there. And if you go looking elsewhere, you have just, you've stuck it to them somehow. So they're going to get back on you. When I left my last agency to get out of law enforcement, the chief told me, I took a chance on you. And mind you, I'd been promoted within 6 months of getting hired there, but he took a chance on me. And now I'm doing this to him because, heaven forbid I look for something somewhere else.
Wait a minute, you got promoted? What'd you get promoted to?
I was promoted to corporal within 6 months.
Oh, no
Nice.
kidding. Well,
Yeah.
congrats. I didn't
Well,
know that.
Thank you.
I'm not surprised. I'm not
But
surprised.
I
you got a good.
figured deputy chief, but
Yeah. Well,
It's just I've seen it in everywhere that I've been at. I've been at big agencies. I've been at a very small agency. That person in charge thinks that you owe them the world and that you need to come groveling. And whenever they decide to beat you, whether it be physically or emotionally, you're supposed to
Kevin
just
Bacon.
take it and come back for more.
it's personal.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yes.
It is very personal. They take it as a personal smite that you no longer want to be in it. And Mark and I talk about it all the time here. It is seriously like a fucking cult. It really is like a cult, which is once you stop drinking the Kool-Aid and you become self-aware, and that maybe some of these promises that were made to you, or you being put on a pedestal that you're in this untouchable group, you're not. You're not.
Yeah.
The civilians. I think I said it before I hit record, which is I have way more power than a deputy or a police officer has off duty. I carry a gun concealed everywhere I go here in Florida. I don't have to register it with my police department. I don't have to worry about pulling it out and making a lethal force. Like, there's so much more power that you have. And it shouldn't be that way because it's the best job in the world. It's the best fucking job in the world. I loved being a cop. Loved. I'm glad that I had it in my life. I wish I would have erased the last 3 years of being there. Absolutely. The toll it took on my personal life and my mental health is crazy. But you just don't know. Like now that I'm on the other side, you're on the other side, Mark's on the other side. The more people that vocalize that after 10 to 15 years on this job, if it's not good for you anymore, you don't need to stay.
Right.
And you chasing that pension is dangerous. It's
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
And
and the pension itself is disappointing. Go ahead, Turk.
Yes, it is. The perspective that I have seeing other people still in the career field has been very much changed, and seeing the way they look at things. Recently, there was an officer in Des Moines, Iowa. Maybe you guys saw this. I think maybe I sent it to you. He left his rifle on top of his car, and he was driving around.
See that?
A citizen, got his attention. Said, "Hey, there's a rifle up there." And,
thank goodness.
A terrible mistake. I'm not saying that this person probably shouldn't have some discipline or some sort of training, but by all accounts and purposes, it sounds like he was a great officer who maybe just had, made that mistake. The statement that was put out by the chief to the media, I'm like, this guy's about to get railed. And so I took to a local Facebook page and I said, if anyone knows this guy, let him know I'm there for him and he can reach out to me because I feel like he's about to get railed. The comments that I got, dude, were like, it sounds like you're the last person this officer needs to reach out to. Yeah, yes. Like, it's just a jaded world.
No, we eat our own. It's always been that way.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you find out somebody's under investigation, you would think that person has fucking the herp.
Yes.
They fucking distance themselves from
hey,
you.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I take foul tracks. Was that a list? No, I'm kidding.
I'm cured.
I got a lot of living to do, man.
but we eat our own, man. Like, you know, and the question I pose to you is you're out. Like, so all those guys that you
like a fart in church, buddy.
All the guys that you met up with and that you had, you ran calls with and all that stuff. How many of those reach out to you currently right now?
I got about 2.
You're lucky. Now,
that's between the 2 or 3 agencies, right? That I had.
Okay.
Like the one that I spent the most time at, that I made the most sacrifices for. I think there's one person every now and again will reach out. And from the last one, there's one. Yeah. Every now and again.
I'll ask you that question in a year, and you tell me if that person's still around.
Oh,
because
I bet no.
Mark and I can speak to it. The most frustrating thing out of all of this, forget about what the department did. Forget about how the chief, fucked us over and did all that stuff. The part that gets me is the people that we saved their jobs as sergeants. I can name 5 right offhand that did shit that was borderline illegal
or saved their lives.
And saving their fucking careers. And I don't hear from a fucking word of them. I don't hear nothing from them. Now, it's been.
Didn't you have the same number, Nick?
I have the same fucking number, you know.
So
And
for those people that are listening to the show, send Nick a text. He would
Yeah.
love to hear from you.
Yes.
well, don't because now the time has gone on too far. Like I've had a couple of them look me up
Send
on
him a dick
LinkedIn.
pic. He'll like that too.
Yeah,
Dick
yeah.
Nixon, Dick Trickle, you know.
You know, I've had them send
Sorry,
me.
Nick.
I've had them look at my LinkedIn. You know, Facebook doesn't tell you, you know, who's looking at your Facebook and stuff, but the time has passed now. Like I don't need you in my life. And what are you going to contribute to my life at this point? And the answer to that is nothing.
Well, and I will
Not
say
a
that
damn thing.
the contact that I've received hasn't really been like, "How are you doing?" It's all, "Hey, so how's the job search going?" Or how, you know, like it's all been that related. And I don't.
What?
Go ahead.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
Well, I can answer that because I took 2 of those calls this week.
I know exactly what it is, and it's the fact that, and I don't know why, but law enforcement is so riddled with gossip and rumors. In a career field where I'm expected to protect your life, you're expected to have my back. I can't fathom why there is so much rumor and gossip going on, whereas the career field I'm in now, it's completely different. I don't get it. It shouldn't be that way, but they are so amped up on what's the current rumor and what's the current gossip. I want to be the first one to have it so that I can tell others.
Yeah.
Right. And if you aren't combating, you're correct. And my former relief sergeant and I went after that viciously in my former agency, because it all went back to one person.
Mhm.
Yeah, all roads led to this person. He caused 80% of the bullshit at our department, and everyone's like, "Well, I'm not going to say." Then it's you. Okay,
Yeah.
so come on back, or we're going to
Yeah.
discipline. Whoa, wait a minute. Tell me who's saying it, and we ran it all back to the source. And this I heard or they and that bullshit is like, oh no, that's conduct unbecoming, and I will discipline you out of it.
I
You know,
feel
this
like
bullshit stops today.
right now it's more misery loves company, and
Yes.
the one person is fewer and far between, if that makes sense.
Well, but there is. I spoke with a sergeant, I think at 13 years on the job, and he's just like, "I'm done. I'm done, dude." So what's it like on the other side? And I said, "Really, it's wonderful. They're a fan of the show, so hello. I'm not going to say who they are at this point, but you know, they're what's other options?" And I spoke to another officer yesterday that's looking to get out, and as Nick said, there is a demand for former law enforcement. And on the other side, there is an adjustment, right? You don't get call off sick whenever you want, and there is some perks for having a government job. But if you leave law enforcement and get into another government job, like, you know, one colleague works for Department of Transportation, he fucking loves it. You know, still got the benefits, state level benefits, but you know, you have to perform. And if you don't perform, you're out.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my daughter's company. I love the way they do things. Once a year, they do what they call a reorganization. And I think what they do is they evaluate the dead weight and they send them out the door.
Yeah.
You know, they know that coming in. So you're there to work and you're there to perform, you know, so there's slugs like we tend to get in law enforcement. And that's not everybody. I mean, I worked with some wonderful, absolutely wonderful performers out there that did great work. And those are the people that I enjoyed working with because I have they had that work ethic as well. But, you know, there is a demand for former law enforcement in all facets of industry. So don't act like this is all I can do.
Yeah.
You know, because remember, and the thing that the toxic managers don't understand, they need you more than you need them. Without your place on that shift in that department. So what do they do? What's the problem right now? I just saw a Travis Yates video this morning on LinkedIn. You know, even the old guys are like, fuck this, I'm leaving. And leaves these people. They don't understand that their toxicity, they are their own worst enemies. So whatever they get up in their own head, however they're going to make it emotional, they're going to try and make it personal. You know, the biggest thing is that they need to appreciate the people that are there and be sincere about it. You know, I don't want to hear this pizza party thing.
Right.
But if you don't genuinely believe it, then don't say it.
Right.
But they're in a transition right now and they don't know how to fix it.
Well, they have a huge deficit too, because you look at this
Amen.
group of people right here on here where you have subject matter experts in multiple different fields. And now 3 of them are no longer in this profession. And
Yes.
the drug war, which has been going on for a very long time, is about to get way, way worse. And you don't have drug interventionists out on the road anymore. You don't have people out there that were in law enforcement in the late 90s, early 2000s when, crime was at its peak. Well, not at its peak, but one of the peaks. That aren't out there to train the newer people how to conduct subject stops, how to look for bulges for, firearms and things like that. Those are things civilians don't really understand. When they look at the turnover of their agency, they just go, that's normal. No, it's really not, because it takes you 3 to 5 years to replace one solid officer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're not understanding. Your tax dollars are just a perpetual, cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hiring Gen X and millennials that have zero commitment to a lot of things. And they grew up not being disciplined. They grew up being told that everything they do is fucking Tiffany cufflinks. And the moment you tell them that that's not the case, they're out. And a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't wait for another job to leave the first job.
Nope.
They're like, I'll figure it out. And they could pass background checks. That's why they get hired so quickly in law enforcement, because they have squeaky clean backgrounds.
So many admin out there tell their bosses that the hiring crisis is it's all across the nation. It's just what we're dealing with. It's not my fault. It's what we're dealing with. And if we're going to have to throw more money for sign-on bonuses to do this. But what the public doesn't understand, and what the bosses of the admin aren't being told, is that if I hire Mark and I put him through the academy and I put him through FTO and he fails, I just wasted probably $50,000 and a year and a half of my time to then have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
But that's why it's hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's push. We need bodies. We get it. But you wouldn't need bodies if you wouldn't flush people out the fucking door.
Well,
and like here in the state of Ohio, they just recently, legislation just changed that once you're a certified officer, you're always a certified officer. You want to come back to work? That depends on how long you've been out, whether it's 40 or 80 hours to come right back.
Yeah.
Once you're certified, you're certified. You don't have to go through the academy again, which I think is a smart move. But then again, on the other side, think about the people you're pushing out the door, or the retirees.
Yeah.
Why are you shoving them out the door? Why aren't you keeping them around? I know that in my world, there was a big push to get rid of the reserves or the auxiliaries or whatever you call the part-time guys. There was a bit, the liability of them is so bad. Right, but you give them minimum training. But these guys, look at the vast knowledge you're rolling out the door. Why don't you keep them around in a train if their head's on straight? There's a lot of variables there. But if you have a good active guy that you can utilize through training and pass that knowledge on for 3 to 5 more years afterwards. But how many times we see it in law enforcement where, hey, I'm retiring next year and I'm the guy, whatever it is, doesn't matter what the discipline, I'm the guy. Hey, I'm retiring in 6 months, nothing. Hey, I'm retiring in 3 months, nothing. Hey, I'm out the door, thanks. Then the management's like, oh shit, what are we going to do to fill his spot? Or you're getting them phone calls. Hey, Nick, remember when you were doing blank, or, better yet, they pulled out your old playbook because you were really good at documentation, and now they're doing what you did before. Nick and I, in a past episode, he was talking about the great work he did in the community resource unit. And now a lot of those things that he did and implemented. Yeah.
I see it on social media. They brush off a program that I developed. And, they polish it off and they're like, look at this Cops for Christmas that we're doing. And you're like, I fucking made that. Like, and then like all these crazy things, like, I'll say this and then we'll close it out, which is law enforcement has lost their number one recruiters, which are other cops. Because when you go up to a cop, and you say to him, hey, how awesome is it being a cop? I'm thinking about going into law enforcement. That cop, 9 times out of 10, is going to go stay in school and go work for Publix as a cashier.
Or go to a
Become an
different agency,
electrician.
not here.
Yeah, don't come to our agency. We pay like shit. We treat our associates like shit. They're the number one recruiters out there, and that's what law enforcement has lost.
No, Gary and Mel were the number one recruiters.
Yes, they were, man. Get on it,
Gary.
Mel.
How do I get paid to do that job?
Those days are over, my friend.
Those
days
days
are
Cleveland
over.
PD.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I
I
often
wanna-
tell. Go ahead. Finish your
Go
thought.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well, in advanced training and recruit training, I always with the advanced, I always says, who was a cop back in the 90s or the early 2000s, and the hands are fewer and fewer. But I always tell everybody it was absolutely the best job in the world to be a cop in the 90s. Man, it was fabulous. And sadly, I always tell them the shit that we did back then is the reason why you guys got the policies we have today.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, Turk, I think we got to do a part 2 because we there's never enough. I appreciate you coming
You know
on.
what Turk would look good in? A jersey from jerseysforsale.com.
Yes, go on over to jerseys4sale.com and go get your jerseys. I got 2 of them right up there. Awesome quality, straight Fanatics wear. So love those guys over there. They do such a great job. Great sponsors for this show. Also, if you have commented in the last 3 episodes, you might want to go back and go look at those episodes and look at the comments, because Jerseys for Sale has selected a winner for a free jersey. Just pay shipping and handle, you cheap fuck. And
that's comment on YouTube.
Yeah, comment on YouTube.
Go to our Facebook page now, since we haven't been banned late. Yeah, it's back.
Till this episode.
Yeah, till this episode.
Alexander's going to call and file another complaint. They'll take us down.
So,
making fun of us again.
Say my name again. But the other part about YouTube is, if you aren't subscribed to our channel, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button. Make a comment.
Please
stay for the whole video. Even if you put it on and walk away and go take a shit.
Yep.
What we do see in the statistics are that only about 5 to 10% are subscribed that are watching the episodes. And then what's happening is you're watching it in sections, which that's perfectly fine, but it kind of skews some of the algorithms for YouTube. So we do want to get to the point where this is a monetized thing. Lap dances are not free from art. So, so please watch the whole entire video. We greatly appreciate that. You Midnight Dogs out there, be safe. And so we'll go down the line. Mark, tell us in the ending.
Buy Turk's book.
Yes.
I know it looks like there's a ball sack on there, but that's actually my police thing. But yeah, buy Turk's book. It's fun. It's a good read. He did a really good job at it, and we're looking forward to his next one that's out. Everyone, again, being a cop's the greatest thing in the world. I had the pleasure of sitting through yet another recruit class. Every recruit class I teach, and I go to graduation. And at that time, you just see the excitement in these kids coming out of the academy. So it is a great job. We just need to wait for these fake it to make it leaders to get out. So I think the true leadership's going to take back over. The pendulum, I feel, is swinging back, and I hope that's absolutely the truth. It does get better. Remember, back in the 70s, things were in the shitter too, and the pendulum swung back. The beauty of it is that after 9/11, we had a long time when we didn't have a lot of controversy, but we're back in that controversy again. We need those strong leaders to stay on the job and rise to the top and to run the department, because this toxic leadership you're working under now, that's good leadership training, because that's what I had. When I had bad bosses, I said, I'll never do that.
Yep.
And you align yourself with good people around. So the hive, the good news is that sometimes the hive can be good, but on the other side, the hive can be bad. And let's always go on the side of believing your people, take care of your people. There's good in everybody, and do the right thing at the end of the day.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. turn it over to Turk.
Yeah.
Close us out.
You're listening to the podcast that changed the game and rocked an entire profession.
Just kidding. They're on that button, just waiting for it. Shut up, Simons. No, I would just say that our show is going to start back up a little bit here, putting out more stuff now that I've got my wheels under me. We're going to have some more things coming, but I'm definitely going to be bugging these two over here to get on this show some more because I love them both so much. The only thing I would say, I close this out, do something good for someone else out there, this week. That could be part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Give them a reach around or just give them a high five. But if we're going to fix this world, if we're going to fix things, we got to do something good for one another. So if that means giving them a reach around, then that's what we got to do. So
Just do it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in again. Be safe out there, and remember, go check out Jerseys for Sale, and we'll see you on the next one, Manscaped.com. Bye, everyone.
Stay safe.
From the court to the field, we got what you need. Every team, every color, every fan guaranteed. High quality threads, fashion meets the game. Jerseys for sale, remember the name. Jerseysforsale.com, where the players shine. Men's sports jerseys, the best you'll find. Passion for the game, stitched in every seam. Wear the style, wear the pride, wear your team. Jerseysforsale.com, where the players shine. Men's sports jerseys, the best you'll find. Passion for the game, stitched in every seam. Wear the style, wear the pride, wear your team. Trends of today, tradition on display. From legends of the past to the stars of today. When you want the look, when you want it first. Jerseys for sale, quench your fashion thirst. Jerseysforsale.com, where the players shine. Men's sports jerseys, the best you'll find. Passion for the game, stitched in every seam. Wear the style, wear the pride, wear your team. Jerseysforsale.com, where the players shine. Men's sports jerseys, the best you'll find. Passion for the game, stitched in every seam. Wear the style, wear the pride, wear your team. On the court, in the stands, or out with your crew, we've got the jersey that's perfect for you. Not just a shirt, it's the way you belong. Jerseys for sale, quench your fans are strong. On the court, in the stands, or out with your crew, we got the jersey that's perfect for you. Not just a shirt, it's the way you belong. Jerseys for sale, where the fans are strong. Jerseysforsale.com, where the players shine. Men's sports jerseys, the best you'll find. Fashion, passion, all rolled in one. Jerseys for sale, where the game lives.